Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Monday at 2:30 p.m., just about 4 full days after the start of the Blast from the Past event, and the race is essentially complete. At least the SSF version is complete. The trade version, which we'll talk about the comparison in a second, is almost done as well. It's actually interesting contrast right there. So first off, obviously, huge congratulations and no surprise to Ben winning. He beat the second place player, Gucci, by I think it was like 7-8 hours. Absolutely just dominated the competition. So we're going to start just talking about the standings and all of that. We'll go into the builds and then comparing SSF and trade. So the event is a race event. There is both an SSF and non-SSF version. The top 10 players will get a new unique reward, which is a statue or trophy that goes in your hideout, which is really cool. I was hoping that I would get one. Couple reasons that I didn't make the push for top 10, but Ben won. I think he finished in about 27, 28 hours playing a Detonate Dead Elementalist. And as you can see, 5 of the top 10 players are Detonate Dead Elementalists. It is a ridiculously strong build that scales comically easily. If we take a look at his account right here, we'll see what he actually has equipped. The worst gear that you can imagine. So the big thing to look at here is his weapon. This is an Act 1 weapon, right? There is no plus gem levels. It is a single mod weapon with 34% fire damage. Spell damage does nothing for Detonate Dead, and then he crafted Fire Dot Multi on it. That is an Act 1 weapon that he was able to speed clear T16 maps faster than basically everyone else. His basic strategy was to ideally do something with Glacier and maybe Wharf connected to it so he could get as much Glacier as possible. Glacier is a map. The first room has a lot of monsters. You can press your Sentinels, which actually juice up the monsters and give you more XP. Just kill those monsters, hopefully pick up any maps that drop, immediately leave, and just keep blasting Glaciers as quickly as possible. If you can't sustain your Glaciers, then you try to do connected maps and all that, but that's the general idea. And he has a video, I'll link it in the description below, where it'll show his Atlas strategy and all that. I don't want to go into that detail here. Second place, Gucci got that, also playing Detonate Dead Elementalist. He had slightly better gear. And I think it took him about 35 or 36 hours. Yeah, Ben is just that much better than everyone else, and yeah, he is built different. Detonate Dead Elementalist is absolutely crazy. The reason why the build is so insane is because the Detonate Dead, Ignite specifically, the HP from the Desecrated Corpse actually denotes the amount of damage that the Ignite will have. So it'll just scale based on the corpse level from the Desecrate, and that's why you can get really good damage. And then you can also play very defensively. You don't have to worry about death as much because you can go almost entirely into defenses and not scale too much offense on your passive tree. And also Nick, IMExile, has a build guide. I'll link that below as well. If you want to know how the build works. Karn played his Bone Shatter Slayer. Yeah, this profile is private, so I'm not sure what this chieftain was. Just have Detonate Dead, Bone Shatter, Detonate Dead, something I don't know, Bone Shatter, Detonate Dead, Bone Shatter, etc. And that's all of that. And then we have a Cold Dot Trickster at rank 13, a Lightning Arrow, then another Cold Dot, and then Bone Shatter, Bone Shatter, Bone Shatter, Bone Shatter. Yeah, that is the meta for racing right now. If you're not playing Detonate Dead or Bone Shatter, you're going to be slower than basically everyone else. Really, the most interesting thing to me here is that the trade version is significantly less competitive, actually. The difference in trade is obviously you can buy items, but also you can group up with people and theoretically juice even harder and faster. And they were actually, I think, 3 to 5 hours behind Ben. So one person actually beat dedicated groups by a number of hours. So yeah, that's the standings. That's how it went. So for how the race went for me, it went pretty darn well, but I ran up against some energy issues and then some other issues as well. So I took a picture at the end of the first night. I think I streamed about 13 hours straight. I was going until, what was that, 6 a.m. I streamed from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. This was my standing at the end of the first night. I was ranked 20 overall, level 89. I cut off the picture, unfortunately, but I think I was the rank 2 Guardian as well. Rank 20 overall, I think I was doing pretty well. I had a 4 hour and 30 minute Act 10 completion, which for this build for me, with how little I practice it, I'm pretty happy with. And then I just made a pretty good push. So I played my SRS Guardian. This is actually a build that I've been working on the build guide for. It's going to be on maxroll.gg for the league start, assuming it doesn't get nerfed. It'll be on maxroll.gg. That's my first build that I'm going to be putting on there. Very, very strong build, very defensive, comfortable build. It's easily one of like the top 3 easiest leveling builds in the game right now, just based on how strong the Sentinel of Radiance is. That big Sentinel of Radiance, Righteous Fire, just hard carries you through the whole campaign. Very, very comfortable. That way you can just spend a little bit of time until your Summon Raging Spirits gets online. Played until 6 a.m. I made some breakfast at 6 a.m. I went to bed at 7 a.m. and I slept until noon. Woke up, saw that I had dropped to, I believe, 60th to 65th place. And then I grinded for about another 8 hours on stream. And I ended up at rank 26 overall, ranked second Guardian. And actually, I took another picture right here. This was me at that time. I was like 93 and a half about. And I was actually, all these people were asleep. I could have grinded for about another 2 hours and gotten to about rank 15 or so if I really pushed through. And then, if I did the crazy stuff that the other people, I don't know if I could have made it, but there's a chance that maybe I could have made top 10 if I grinded really, really hard. But let's get into that. So this is probably going to be a contentious thing. Let's double check. How long was the stream? His stream was 29 and a half hours. That was the big push that he made. Gucci right here, who got second place, he grinded for 35 hours. Obviously a little bit less than that because of the stream start, but really impressive, remarkable feats of human endurance and all that. Like genuinely very difficult to do something that PoE is not just like a generic repetitive game. You have to pay attention. You lost 50% XP if you died. So if you died anytime after like level 92, 93, that'll take you out of the, the end of the race right there, right? Very extreme, impressive feat. However, man, I mean, just how I felt after playing for 13, 14 hours straight, absolutely exhausted and, genuinely concerning these races that kind of encourage you to play for that long at a time. I don't know what the overall stance is. I mean, it's impressive, but to play for that long without any rest or any break, I guess I'm a boomer, but I am genuinely a little concerned just like what that means from a health perspective. The audio for the original recording got a little scuffed here, so we're re-recording it. But yeah, just to finish up this conversation, I'm now 41 years old. I've been playing video games way too much for many, many years of my life. And this is the most boomer dad thing to say. And, these 20, 25-year-old kids are going to hate hearing it. But I very often have to deal with wrist, elbow, shoulder, finger, whatever pain if I play too many games. This is what ramps it up, is playing the games way too hard. And I try to stretch as much as I can. I am very guilty of not, doing the best self-care with all that type of stuff, but it sucks, man. I'll just tell you, being 40 years old and like, we see so many threads, in the Reddit and people complaining about just how many issues they have with like, I got RSI and like get a vertical mouse and da-da-da. And like the real answer at the end of the day, it sucks, is like probably just kind of stop playing the game or like really, really pull it back. It sucks. Like just from playing on Friday and Saturday, my left wrist, which for me, I mouse left-handed, my mouse wrist is a little scuffed still. And actually what I do to save my mouse wrist is I use Q from my main skill instead of right-clicking. And that actually helps a lot. Like I used to get really bad wrist pain, but making that change was a huge difference. However, grinding for 13 hours and then 8 hours the next day, being on the entire time. Like this is nonstop mapping. There's no just like hanging out and chatting and hideout. My index finger, for me, pressing Q, it actually hurts from pressing Q too much in just 2 days of pressing Q. And I feel it a little bit here still. And I haven't played in the past 2 days. I haven't even booted up PoE. And I'm actually not streaming today because, I still have some wrist and finger pain. And that sucks, right? I literally can't do my job. And like, even if I go back to being a programmer, I stopped doing this full time. That is a concern, typing too much or whatever. And this is the last thing that anyone wants to hear right now. I really want to encourage everyone to take care of their health with like, think about your rebindings, think about your mouse sensitivity, think about how you use the mouse and all that. Encouraging people to stay up, whatever it is, 35 hours playing the game, because that's just implicit in part of the race. If the human being can do it for a competition, the human being will do it. And that's just what we do. I think it's really up to GGG to rethink that and to temper the rules of the competition so people are not tacitly encouraged to play for 35 hours straight. That's so unhealthy. And that's literally how, you could say it's individual responsibility, but that's literally how people have died in like gaming cafes in Korea and all that. And they'll sit there for 48, 56 hours, smoking cigarettes, drinking Coke, and they just die at the keyboard playing League of Legends, right? Go out like a champion, I guess. I'm glad that I stopped on Saturday when I did. Like I said, I could have pushed for at least top 15. And I think I could have gotten it if I pushed through and I just said, F it, I'm just going to do it. But I'm really glad that I didn't. For the younger guys, I would just encourage you, really think about this. Like, it's awesome. No, I don't want to take anything away. I am very proud of my gaming accomplishments from 20 years ago as well. You know, what bothers me more right now is you know, this stuff. Anyway, didn't want to end on a downer like that. I am actually going to play this coming Friday. I will probably give a shot at the next event. I'll play Detonate Dead. If I find any pain or anything, right, just stop. Don't push through it. Rethink your ergonomics. It's just not good, man. All right, anyway, I'm just going to stretch my wrists and relax the rest of the day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.